There are a few players that I think the Cincinnati Bengals should extend. However, there is one that they need to extend today. Like it should have been done yesterday. We're going to talk about that here on No Butts About It. What's up, everyone? This is Josh Butts with No Butts About It. And today we're going to talk about a player that I think the Cincinnati Bengals need to extend now. This is a guy that you probably won't hear a lot about with the national media. And that is Dalton Risner, the guard for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a guy that I was pounding the table for in free agency. They eventually got it done, got him signed to a $1.3 million contract this year. 1 year, 30-year-old, 1 year, wanted to see how it worked out. And I would say it worked out great. We're going to get into the stats here in a moment. But I think Dalton Risner has been a huge part of the improvement of this offensive line, especially at the guard position. They had the two worst guards in the NFL last year, and now they have Dalton Risner, who's been fantastic, and Dylan Fairchild, that third-round rookie, who hasn't reached his best yet, but he's still been pretty good. Good enough that I'm willing to bring him back. And, the Bengals also are going to need to draft a tackle or bring in a left tackle at some point because Orlando Brown Jr. is getting up there and they don't really have a replacement for their left tackle position yet. And so I think locking down this guard position for the time being will help them kind of save money. And that's what the Bengals like to do. Dalton Risner is not going to be an expensive player either, especially for what you're going to get with him. The most he's ever made in 1 year on his contract is $3.7 million his rookie year in 2019. After that, it's all been lower amounts, usually from the $1.5 to $2.5 million range. So I think the Bengals could easily get him on a 2-year, maybe $7 million contract, give him that 3.5 because he's been really good for us. But also, he is older. I'd be okay with that. A 2-year, $7 million deal, maybe guarantee $5 million or something like that. But Dalton Risner has been fantastic. And Scott Peters is he's been amazing. I loved this hire at the beginning of the year, and he has made everything look better. Just an absolute stud of a coach. I love this guy. He does not get enough credit. And I don't think Dalton Risner gets enough credit either. So Dalton Risner this year has 2 sacks allowed, 3 quarterback hits, 9 hurries, and 14 pressures. In true pass sets, he has 1 sack. He has 2 quarterback hits, 6 hurries, and 9 pressures. Now, those numbers pretty much just mean nothing if you don't have anything to compare them to. So let's compare them to our third-round rookie. How's he doing? Well, Dylan Fairchild has 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits, and 22 hurries. So to go back to Risner real quick, Risner has 2 sacks, 3 hits, and 9 hurries. So that means that Risner has significantly less hurries than Dylan Fairchild does. And in true pass sets, it's 1 sack, 5 hits, 18 hurries, and 24 pressures. So the pressures actually get a little bit better for Dylan Fairchild, but not much. Whereas with Risner, he's pretty consistent across the board. He's just great at blocking for Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, Jake Browning, whoever it's been this season. He has been great for them. And then I don't want to dig up the past too much, but just to compare to who was starting, one of the players that was starting there last year, Cordell Volson. Cordell Volson had 43 pressures allowed last season, and he allowed 6 sacks. And in true pass protection, it didn't get better by much. He had 5 sacks allowed, 35 pressures. Dalton Risner is significantly better. He's still in the single digits for pressures, albeit he's at 9 in true pass sets. And so he's already doing way better with the Cincinnati Bengals. And that means Joe Burrow is upright more. That's what we've been asking for. And furthermore, this is like the Bengals' perfect guy because he's cheap, but he's also getting the job done. Now, that does not mean that they can't bring in a guard. They shouldn't continue to develop Jalen Rivers at that guard position. I think Jalen Rivers still has potential. Maybe they bring in someone else younger because if you don't have someone younger, you're going to have Ted Karras, who's older, Orlando Brown Jr., and Dalton Risner. You need to have that O-line depth. We talk about O-line depth all the time. Stan and I just talked about it last week on the show, why it is so important to have that O-line depth. But ultimately, I do think Dalton Risner is going to be a leader on this team. He's going to be someone that helps improve the O line. He's going to be an anchor for the O line, and he will help the Bengals be able to spread out how much they need to actually focus on the O line in a season that they really need to focus on the defense. So, Dalton Risner, you need to be signed as a Cincinnati Bengal next season and in 2027, in my opinion. I hope we see another photo just like this one from the Cincinnati Bengals posted soon. I've loved having you with the team. Thank you for signing with the Bengals. Thank you for picking the Bengals when you could have gone lots of other places. But those are just my quick thoughts. I've been so busy, but I want to get that out there. Dalton Risner has been fantastic, and I hope the Bengals extend him soon. That being said, I appreciate all of you for stopping by real quick. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know, do you think the Bengals should extend Dalton Risner, or should they go a different route in the guard position for next season? But until next time, go do something nice for someone.